He has a 1-1 count. That one's struck high. Left side. That one's going. That's out of here off the lights. You have to be kidding me. Fireworks. Here you go.
Welcome in, everybody. Class 4A Week 7 rankings coming to you just in a matter of seconds. Kate and Andrew, as always, every Monday making your Monday just a little bit better. Hey, postseason for Class 4A is right around the corner. Next Friday, the 12th, sub-state games get going. So we'll probably have this week for rankings, then next week will probably be the final edition for rankings until we really get going and see these teams play to get to Cedar Rapids and to get to the Colonel Stadium, which should be a fun new host site for us to check out. But hey, 15 through 11, let's get going. Let's not waste anybody's time. We do have a new team, Sioux City East. No other movement besides Sioux City East. Everyone else kind of holding ground. But hey, the Black Raiders, they had a really good week. They split with Heelan, which is no easy task to do. And this team, like we talked about in DCG's sub-state, Bodie Colling, Jack Steeler leading the way on the hill and in the box, really. I mean, those guys are massive contributors. Case and Claiborne, the freshman. This is a team that's full of youth. I mean, I'm looking down the line. I don't see any seniors in the top 8 to 9 in terms of total bases. So this team not only is well equipped for this year, they're going to be ready to roll for next year either. Again, Bodie Colling, the big name for them. He's going to be leading the way on the hill. He's got a whip below 1 through 50 innings, which is extremely impressive. But Sioux City East, again, welcome back into the rankings. I believe they were in at some point, if I can try and quickly pull it up. Yeah, started preseason ranked number 10. Quickly hopped out. They're at number 9, number 10. So they've been in and out of our rankings, and so they reappear here at number 14 in week 7. Again, North Scott Prairie, Davenport North, and Indianola round out the rest here. No movement as I move inside the top 10. A little bit of movement here, but really nothing crazy in Class 4A this week. Sepp and Waukee Northwest take a little dip. Waukee jumps up, Centennial goes down, Liberty goes up. Really nothing wild. I feel like the week wasn't too crazy. I believe we had Johnston clinch the CIML, which we'll talk about here inside of our top 5. But we do have a new team inside of our top 5. It's a team that's quickly been rising as of late. It's Linmar, Andrew. This team was let's see, they were number 6 last week. Before that, they were number 9, and before that they were number 14. So they've just been a slow and steady climb for Linmar, and here we are all of a sudden. The Lions is a top 5 team in Class 4A.
And you know what? It's funny. They've had just 1 loss or 2 losses in the last 14 games. So they have been on a roll, sweeping teams like Washington, Dubuque, Hempstead, took wins over Pleasant Valley, sweeping Ankeny, splitting Iowa City Liberty. And that's always pretty big. And of course, the Dragon Slayer of Mount Vernon as well. So, I mean, they've got quite a test with Xavier, Western Dubuque, Dowling, and Wahlert coming on up in the next 4 doubleheaders for them. But yeah, this is a team that I've been pretty high on for a while. We have been pretty high on for a while, and I like what they're doing here. Obviously, some names to know. Mishler is kind of one of the guys that's been leading the squad, but Sarsfield is a guy that I find is one of the more intriguing freshmen, especially in 4A. I mean, he'll blow it by a 51 total bases here. He's going to do a lot of good. But on top of that, Mizunski as well. Dylan Mizunski, the junior, 19 stolen bases for him. That's a good mark for this team overall. And we know what they do with the fielding. They've always done some really good work here. But I do like the senior trio of Anderson, Mossman, and Martin on the mound. Again, they're not going to give you the glorious strikeout marks here, but a lot of these guys are 250 and below in terms of letting teams spray off of what they need to. Not a lot of them. 2 out of the 3 have under 10 earned runs total. And again, they just put in a lot of innings, the time logged, and they got a lot of sophomores, a lot of underclassmen. They've yet to really make their mark. So this is a fun team overall. Their schedule has bared it out. I love where they're sitting right now. And again, as always, I want to mention 4A is always kind of that beast, right? It's always a tough beast to follow. It's hard to go out constantly and beat some of these teams, but right now in the Mississippi Valley, they sit third overall. They only have 7 conference losses overall, but that includes Western Dubuque, Dubuque Hempstead, all those a lot of Iowa teams. Of course, Iowa City High and Kennedy, the only 2 teams above them in conference play. But yeah, they're a team that, again, their lookout for the postseason is going to be pretty cool. Of course, they start out with Cedar Rapids Jefferson right away, and their sub-state's looking pretty good for them to possibly make it all the way.
Absolutely. When you talk about City High being ahead of them in the conference standings, well, City High sits here at number 4 after kind of an up and down week, split with Liberty, sweep of CR Jeff, and then a loss to Southeast Polk yesterday on Saturday, the 29th. Looking ahead, they've got some good games, 2 against Centennial and Northwest, 1 against Johnston. We talk week in and week out, Andrew. It's the pitching staff. Nothing's really changed at this point, but the Little Hawks, they're geared up and ready to roll into the postseason.
And again, they're so built for it. And it's funny. I have tried to find the last team that I could find pitching wise so dominant, but didn't have the strikeout numbers with it. Right? This team can give you 3 really strong guys. Schrader, obviously, being the guy that I think is one of the most. I think he's underrated because I don't believe he's talked enough yet. I think the guy has been absolutely on fire, and he makes the pitch dance. He's looking for contact. Same with Talon Young. Both those guys just look for contact, and they look for it often, and they get it. And honestly, this is a team that, again, defensively, one of the best defensive teams out there. And without mentioning Dominic Salibi in that mark as well, they spray the ball all over the place. ERA wise, they're the top ERA team in the class, and I really don't blame it on that at all. They do a great job in making that happen. So yeah, this is a strong team ready to go. I think they are truly built to go deep, and they have a lot of things in play. They have a lot of guys that can go the distance, and you know what? They can win the 1-0s. They can also win the 10-0s. They can do that, and they can win those games pretty easily. I like where they're at, and I think they got a good shot to make it to state.
Well, another mainstay inside our top 5 all year long has been DCG. It says down 1 on the graphic. They did not move down 1. They were number 3 last week as well, so disregard that. DCG last week, a slip up to Indianola. They bounced back with a doubleheader sweep over Newton and a win over North Polk. Andrew, we talk about this team. That North Pole game was unreal. Let's just say that was a crazy finish, really fun, really entertaining. But DCG, we talk about they got Sioux City East in their bracket. This team is well equipped pitching wise. They're well equipped in the box. It's business as usual. It feels like for the Mustangs.
If you're going to go up against this team in the postseason, you really got to hope that you could throw out maybe your third best arm. Right? And because otherwise you need your best arm to go up against him, right? You need that time off. You need to be able to do that. This is a team that honestly they got walked off on, but how many times have they put themselves up way too far ahead early to make that even possible for these teams? A lot of these teams have just had a struggle against them. They have run away with the conference right now, and again, very minimal in their conference loss slate. They've had a good run. Tatum Gray, obviously, they've been the big names here. Keaton Fenn, as we mentioned, goes from a honorable mention. He, I guarantee you, will be at least a second or if not first team all-state kind of guy with the way he's going. He's one of the top hitters on this team, as well as the top pitcher on this team. And Benway and Moore I mentioned as well. This is a deep roster that can make it happen. I like them where they're at, and I think that they can go even further.
No doubt. Well, Johnston is the beneficiary. This team jumps up 3 spots. Really, really good last few weeks, I should say, for Johnston. Ever since their 2 losses in a row to Ankeny and Dowling, this team's rattled off a solid 6-game winning streak. 3 of them by 1 run, actually. I mean, this team's been playing a lot of close games, which is always good. Heading into postseason play, having those tight contests and being battle ready in that sense. But a doubleheader sweep over Hawkeyes really sent a message. They got that win over Ankeny Centennial. Wins over Pleasant Valley. They beat Boone last Friday, I believe. I mean, Johnston, this team, they could be hitting their stride in terms of playing their best ball at this point if they can continue this winning streak heading into the postseason.
And of course, guys like the walk-off winner to win them state last year, Adam Keiko, he keeps rolling. He's steady. Whedon is also steady. There are a lot of guys that they needed to kind of step up with some of the losses they had. They've done just that. Now, again, I think one of the things that people look at is there'll be anti-fans of Johnston. And certainly some of those are going, man, look at them now. They're not as great. They're not as strong. And I'll say to that, we've seen this song and dance before. And I swear that Johnston does it. They try and lull others into the sense of maybe we got a better shot than we really think we do. And in the end, Johnston comes away with it and just rolls. They hit the analytics hard. They hit the numbers hard. They hit everything hard. And I think, again, they have the depth to go through with it, but the biggest thing for them is they take their time at the plate. They're as patient of a team at the plate as I've ever seen, and it doesn't matter year in and year out. I mean, they only have 5 losses for a reason, and again, this is a team that does not lose very much. They've only lost 3 games away, only 2 at home. Ultimately, there's your 5, and yeah, this is a team well worth it. They're going to go far, and again, they're one of the more exciting teams to watch.
No doubt. Well, Kennedy, that means they stay at number 1. Andrew and Nolan Graw. I mean, we've talked about the Kennedy offense as a whole. Nolan Graw has not come out of nowhere, because 12 home runs doesn't come out of nowhere, but he's taken the state lead in terms of home runs. This dude he's approaching 100 total bases. He's at 95 right now, evidently or inevitably going to hit that. He's only struck out 7 times in his 91 at bats, slugging over 1,000. Hitting over 500. I know we talked about the Kennedy offense in a whole, but I tell you what, we haven't really talked about Nolan Graw specifically. This dude is becoming one of the better hitters across the entire state of Iowa.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, hey, he's well collegiate bound for a reason, man. I mean, this guy has done a lot here. Plus, I mean, not only that, but he's walked 20 times. So, I mean, he forces the issue, he forces the button mark. One of only just about under 5 guys to have a slugging mark in 4A over 1,000, and that's without going into guys like Matthew Stoltenberg, who's 73 total bases himself isn't a bad thing. Even him down the line, he has 8 home runs as well. And then beyond that, obviously Grant Mather, as we've already talked about, he's a big ticket item as well. And again, just going beyond that and above, Ty Donalds as well is a guy. He's going to make the collegiate route, I guarantee you, someday, as he's a big time add, and he's just a sophomore. So I think what this team has got this year is they got that eye on the target of making state, and they were upended last year. But you know what? Hey, this is a team that will stick around, man. They do not. You look at it; they have not had very many games in which they have been down more than 2 runs. In fact, over 90% of their games they have been well above that. Right? They've rarely found themselves in a deficit. That's how they win. That's their big key. Is they just don't find themselves down very often. And when they do, there's nobody panicking. Nobody panicking, and I don't blame them on it. I wouldn't panic either. This is going to be a fun team moving forward.
Yeah, an intriguing doubleheader on the horizon with Waller Catholic is going to be one to watch on the first. It should be a ton of fun. Independence, Waukee, Cedar Falls, and then you got Waterloo West in the postseason. So the regular season is closing up pretty quickly on us, Andrew. But we appreciate everyone for joining us for Class 4A Week 7 rankings. Drop a comment. Go check us out on socials. We got tons of postseason stuff just around the corner. 1A, 2A first, obviously, and then 3A, 4A next week. So we appreciate you for tuning in, and we'll catch you next week, Class 4A fans.